All right, let's talk about the worst guide ever for Watchmen you'll ever find anywhere. It's the worst guide ever. All right, let's look at the selection tree. Melting Center. You want to take Melting Center because it deals twice the initial damage whenever it consumes a stack of Zen and heals you for 30% of the damage that is dealt. So let's follow up with that and read what happens when you hit Zen. Zen increases the critical chance of your burn attacks by 100%. So before going further, let's talk about critical real quick. Details. Critical. So anytime your critical chance is increased by 100%, it moves that extra, anything above 100%, over to the multiplier. So that is 137%. And that 37 is moved over to the critical multiplier because it's 100% chance. So that's what this does. So that works really well as in with Force Melt. That's why on the tree you pick your Melting Center. Okay, moving on to 27, you look for your Transcendence. If you're not using Transcendence, you are trolling. So use that Transcendence. There are reasons to use the others, but that is PvP, and I'm not talking about PvP at all. Okay, let's talk about the Flaming Wave. There is situations where you can use a Flaming Wave. You'll never use a Cauterize ever again once you apply it to the target. So it's really, it's nothing here. You're not really doing anything except you can swap targets and every once in a while and smack a Cauterize if you wanted to, and you'd burn dots on your original target faster, but it's not that big a deal. Burning Center. Let's talk about the first of many cheats we're going to talk about. This class does have some cheats, and it is not practical to do. Force Clarity. You don't want to use Force Clarity because what it does is it builds charges, and after you get your charges, boom, and you change your tree out. Let's change your tree out, and then you can start using your other things. You were to keep your charges of Force Clarity, but the chances are you won't be able to get to your tree in time before somebody pulls. So you may miss out on having the proper thing located in your tree. Let's talk about Intercessor. Intercessor will cause you to have 2 leaps. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could wait until you have a full 2 charges. And then change back over to Steel Self. It's another cheat this class does. So while we are, let's see, there's a 2, boom. While you're here on this, you're going to see Assailable on your passive. Assailable is the best debuff in the game, in my opinion. It's technically the second best. Sunder is probably better. It is better, but you don't apply it, and you do apply Assailable, so that's an amazing thing. Not very many classes in the game apply it. I want to say maybe 7 classes, and you're one of the good ones that apply it. All right, moving on to 63. Adjudicator is another cheat in the game of this class. So you can use Rebuke to be boosted to 30 seconds. So when you use Rebuke, you can stand in stupid and cause damage to the whatever caused that damage. So it's rebuking, it's putting a little damage back, and it refreshes the rebuke, and it makes it cool down faster, and all of the good things. But it's standing in stupid to do more damage. I don't recommend it, but if you really want to take it, you can. You can also just take a save reward and heal yourself, which is great too. That's an option. All right, Guarded by the Force. If you're learning the class, just pick Guarded by the Force. It's 99% damage reduction. It's amazing. It's great. It's going to keep you alive. It'll save your life when you have no clue what you're doing. This is going to be infinitely better because it has a 35-second cooldown. It is much better. It is a cheese. It's great. It does pathetic damage, really. But take your Guarded by the Force for when you're learning the class. Inspired. You heal your frame. Go with it. It's great. It's amazing. Move on. All right. Merciless Slash increases the burn damage you do for 5% 6 seconds after use. So just read your passes. That's one of them. Use your Merciless Slash as soon as possible for a few reasons. So Merciless is an interesting ability. Merciless will, the more you use it, the faster it cools down. So it starts out as a 14-second cooldown. So you want to reduce that down. I want to say to 11. I don't remember as I just use it as I use it. So I don't really track how long it takes. I just follow it and use it up. All right. So let's talk about the rotation. Now, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Solucia on Discord. His name is Solucia. He's got a couple tunes named that. He spent many hours with me teaching me how to play this class. I don't like to keybind. I have no choice. I have to keybind now, but I don't like to keybind. I don't really like to use priorities. I like to use static rotation. So he taught me how to use a static rotation on this class, and it's taken me quite some time to learn it. And so now I'm just sharing what he has learned. He has taught to me. So let's talk about another cheat this class has before we get into the rotation. If you wanted to, and I don't recommend you do this, I really don't recommend you do this, but if you wanted to, you can change your tactical. Now, one of the things you can do is take your tactical and put it on your bar out here. You can put it on any one of your bars and change your tactical, force camo, change it again. So now I'm increasing in my stacks of my focus, and there's free focus, and I can pull. So I don't recommend you do that for two reasons. One, you might end up with the wrong tactical on. So you could accidentally have the wrong tactical before the battle starts, and that is a bad thing. You do not want that to happen. Also, you want Zealous Strike on the target before you hit the target. You really do want that Zealous Strike on the target, because it's going to um, cause beatdown. It's another debuff. So other classes apply it, but if you go ahead and apply it, you might as well go ahead and hit that beatdown. Also, probably about 45 seconds into the fight, maybe a minute in the fight, you can hit it again, and you get that debuff a second time onto the target. It doesn't hurt a whole lot. You just do a damage damage loss, but it does help your entire team if you feel like using a Zealous Strike in the middle of your rotation in this spot here. So one more thing about this rotation before we get started on it. Just don't set your bars up like this. This is not how you play the class. I'm using this for visual purposes. I've had people come to me like, hey, I set it up exactly like you showed me, like exactly. And it's like, oh, that's not what I meant. Like it was for demonstration purposes. So how it works is you work these 10 in a row and you start over. These 10 in a row and you start over. These 10 in a row and you start over, unless the one below is ready. So basically you will do this forever. If this was ready, you would do this forever and ever and ever. But it's not, because Twin Saber would not be ready. So you'll go up to Blade Barrage. And so then you would do this forever, except this is glowing, so you're back down to here. But let's say you ran out of force for some reason. You probably won't. It would be a very terrible situation if you did, but let's say you ran out of force. Boom, pop that Zealous Strike. And then you would be doing this forever, and you'd start over. You would use one of these in a row. Most often you'll be using Twin Sabers, though. Sometimes you'll be using Blade Barrage. Very rarely you'll use Zealous Strike. And the final part of the rotation is you'll use Twin Saber Throw followed by a Dispatch. You'll always want to use back to back because it will make this auto crit. It will also make this Twin Saber Throw will make this slash crit. It will make this Dispatch crit. And as you can see, 26k versus 14k, much more. So you definitely want to make sure that you're critting on your Dispatch. So it's going to be an auto crit. Let's see, what else? I think that's all. There is an AoE setup. This top row here is an AoE situation. It's the only wildly variation that I have. It will Force Sweep will spread dots, but only 2 of your dots. You have 3 dots. Your Overloaded Saber is a dot that it's as you strike, it will apply the dots. Force Melt will not apply your dots, but the others will. Some of these other will apply those. Overload Saber will be applied by the other strikes. Force Melt, and then Slash will refresh your Cauterize. So will Twin Saber Throw. Blade Barrage will not. And then you'd reapply your Overloaded Saber, and then you hit the ticks of the burning. So Merciless Slash, if you wanted to, if you really wanted to, you could change the location of Merciless Slash and move it somewhere else and use it on cooldown. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to keep it in one static location, and it will do adequate damage, and you'll see that it will do adequate damage. So let me just pop open Star Parse and get that running. And I'm not going to use a dummy modulator because it's not really fair, because it will give me the other debuffs, all of the debuffs that are available for this class and other classes. But I'm only applying Beatdown, and I'm only applying Assailable. I am not applying Vulnerable, and I'm not applying Sunder. So it's missing some of the damage. So you'll see that it's not going to do as much damage as it could. I am going to cheat just so I can get a little an early boom. I got me a Overload Saber there. And let me get my Zen going. Got full force there. You don't have to have full force. You can actually let that force run out. Actually, I'm going to show you this without. I'm going to let the force run out. I'm going to let that force run out. While it's running out, you see your defensives, your transcendence. If you have 3 marauders or 3 sentinels of any sort, you can have 100% uptime of transcendence predation for the entire operation. It's possible because it's a 10-second simple math, 30-second cooldown, lasts for 10 seconds, and you could just literally do it in cycle. If you had 4, it's even easier to do. You just take turns, like it's your turn, your turn, your turn. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, so let's get started here. I'm going to use my inspiration right at the beginning to work with my force melt to make it pop really hard. Beat down, apply cauterize, dots do more, auto crit, auto crit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start over. It is glowing, so I'll stay here. Start over. It's not glowing, so we're going to go up to Blade Barrage. Alright. It's glowing. Back down. And we're looking for Dispatch to come off cooldown. Or be ready. And it's ready. So we're going to go all the way up there. Alright, that was 27k? 27k? It's good enough for any content in the game. You see the off healings, that would have been your frame. Probably some of that would have gone to your frame. Probably closer to, I would say probably about 9k, maybe 10k to your frame, possibly. So let's talk about the AoE situation. All right, it's very important to learn how to keybind. This class needs a little bit of help on the keybind situation. You're going to want to learn how to keybind because you don't want to waste your Zen crits that we talked about. Your crits again. Let's just talk about it real quick again. Your crits, your auto crit from you have 6 stacks from your Zen. You want one of them to be your force melt. Absolutely need one of them to be your force melt, your first hit. So it's going to be an auto crit with your Zen. If you have spread your cauterize, if you spread around to other dots or have any other dots ticking on anyone else, that force Zen could be wasted somehow, some way. So let's look what it looks like as an AoE situation. Let's say you're just hot and heavy in it. You applied your cauterize, should never come off again. That'll refresh your cauterize. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start over and AoE situation. If you wanted to, you could pop that too to make your AoEs hit even harder, and that will work forever. So if you wanted to, you can pop a beatdown on there. And start over. So that's how the AoE works. So if you really need to get heavy into the AoE stuff, then you might as well just think about using a different class, because there is AoE situations where, like, some other classes are much better. But it does fine. I mean, it does just fine on the AoEs. All right, what else? I think that's everything. I don't think we... Yep, that's all. Have fun out there.